All right, good evening, everyone. A good afternoon in India and a good evening in South Korea. My name is Shweta, and I'll be your host and one of the speakers this evening. Today, we have gathered to discuss about MBA in Korea, and this is part of the series that ISRK has been conducting. To give you a little brief about ISRK, ISRK is basically Indian Students and Researchers in Korea. It's a non-profit voluntary organization in South Korea that aims to connect all Indian origin students and researchers residing here with educational and research, social, recreational, and community support. The mission is they want to reach to all the students in India who want to come to Korea to pursue their further studies. And also at the same time, they're doing a tremendously good job in terms of collaborating with different organizations, bringing together a lot of students who are already working here and basically allowing that platform to share knowledge, share communication, and enable you guys to understand how it is like to be in Korea, to study in Korea. So I think we are 1 minute into the program already. So let's begin. Let's start off by having a glimpse of what ISRK has been doing and the tremendous work that they have done so far. Let's have a look at what they have done so far. Thank you for sharing. That was Manas in the background who was sharing this. So as you guys saw, ISRK has done some tremendous job in bringing together all the students, communicating, sharing information timely, and just enabling the students to understand what it is like to study in Korea. Just a quick question to the host: is my screen all right? Are you able to see full screen? Bhakti?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yes, Shweta ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. All right, so let's begin the session. As I was talking about ISRK, ISRK is actually organizing free live interactive sessions series for 2 months. It has already begun from February, and they have the last session in April to provide information on scholarships and universities in Korea. Last year, around 200 students benefited from this particular sessions, and and this year they are targeting to have 10 sessions from 28th Feb to 1st May. Today is the fourth session of the series on MBA and International Studies in Korea. The motive of this free interactive session is to provide benefits to maximum students living out of Korea and enable them to understand what it is like to study, bridge the gap between people already here, and basically enable communication so that they have clear idea of what they can experience in Korea. They have done this throughout for them to understand the application process, eligibility, research field, and as well as selection procedure for BS, MS, PhD, postdoctoral, MBA, international finance, Korean language program, and so on and so forth. So a lot of good work that has been done. About today's session. Today's session is basically, as you guys know, it is about MBA and International Studies. Three speakers for today's sessions are Bhakti, Jyoti, and myself, Shweta. We will be taking you through our journeys of getting our higher studies and MBAs and international studies here in Korea, what we experienced, what to expect, what not to expect, an overview of the universities, the types of scholarships that you can possibly apply. And also at the same time, towards the end, we are going to talk about life after MBA, expectation versus reality. And then post that, we are going to have a Q&A session. And we request all our audience today to wait for your turn, like wait for the Q&A session to ask questions. And use this platform. Please ask us questions. Put your questions in the chat box, and then we will ask you guys to ask it in person. If you don't want to put it in chat box, just raise your hand, and then we will unmute you, and then you can ask the questions to any specific speaker or all of us, and then followed by a vote of thanks. So introduction to today's panelists. As I mentioned before, we are three of us. The panelists include Bhakti. She's from Maharashtra. She has done her bachelor's in accounting and finance. She's worked in financial industry. She's worked as a financial analyst for 3 years. She is on a GKS scholarship right now here in Korea and currently pursuing her language year with Busan University. And after the language year, she's going to start her master's in international finance at Sogang University next year. She loves making vlogs and she has her own YouTube channel. So if you guys are curious to understand what she's doing, how she does it, you guys can follow her on YouTube. Our second speaker is Jyoti. She is from Rajasthan, India. She has completed her bachelor's in engineering in electronics and communication, worked at HP for 3 years, and then now she's also on her GKS scholarship, currently studying her language at Chonnam National University. After the language year, which is next year, she's going to start her master's in international business at AJOU University. Jyoti also does vlogs and records her journey here in Korea on her YouTube channel, Jyoti Shihag. If you guys are curious, please do follow. Next is me. My name is Shweta Chaudhary. I'm from a very small town in India, Karnataka, called Gokak. I pursued my bachelor's in civil engineering many years ago, and moving from there, I started working in commercial real estate, and I've been working in commercial real estate for the last 7 years. 2 years ago, I decided to pursue my MBA, and then I was fortunate. I got into Yonsei Business School for general management. I completed my MBA this year, and now I am working as a business strategist at JLL in Korea, which is a commercial real estate company. I'm a mom to a 4-year-old and very curious generally in life. I like knowledge, understanding of things, why, what. So I ask a lot of questions to everybody, and my interests are cooking and traveling. So that was just a brief introduction of three of us, the panelists for today. So moving on, I will request Jyoti to take it forward, and she's going to share her experience, and following Jyoti, it will be Bhakti and then myself.
Thank you, Shweta ma'am. Hi, everyone. Let me just quickly share my screen. Could somebody please confirm if my screen is visible?
Yep, it is.
Okay. Hi, everyone, once again. And this is a great opportunity for me to just let you guys know what my idea is in about Korea and studying in Korea, especially MBA. And I know a lot of people are curious, why should we only choose South Korea and what would be the benefits? So we will try to cover all of that today. And the contents for my presentation would be, first, we will just understand why MBA in South Korea. Then I will just take you through some of the basic requirements your portfolio should have in order to be a worthy candidate to even apply for a scholarship, or just in general, like if you want to self-fund yourself as well, there are certain basic requirements that you need in your portfolio to be able to study MBA here in South Korea, in a good university, and be able to get a degree which will be worth your time, and at the end you get the benefit out of it too. And at the end I will just share with you some of these scholarships, and I will try to break them down, like some are government funded, some are just the university scholarships, to understand how you can approach the scholarship route as well. And at the end, I would like to share my personal experience, even though I applied through GKS, what I did to prepare to be able to get the seat as an MBA aspirant in South Korea. So let's start. I am sure everyone attending today and aspiring to study MBA in South Korea knows about companies like LG and Samsung, such huge companies. Uh, South Korea is one of the countries that boomed really quickly in the international business, or the business industry. And the small example that I would like to take is the entertainment industry. We all know about the K-pop, K-dramas, or the Korean beauties, if any of the girls or boys are like interested and read about it. So we have to understand that even though there is a huge language barrier between Korea and the rest of the world, like Korean language is not a global language like English, even though they had that barrier, they were able to take their entertainment business and spread it all across the world. That's how we understand how their business tactics are and what we can learn. If we learn those tactics, we would be able to use them in our own country as well. So there is so much scope to learn here once you get into a university and see how they approach the business environment. That would help you boost your profile even further. And another point why MBA in South Korea would be their educational platform. South Korea is one of the top countries that spends most of their money in the research and development platforms, and they take education very seriously here. So being able to get such a platform to pursue your masters or your PhDs here in South Korea, it will benefit you a lot. And at the end, I just want to point out that even though you come to South Korea, you get an opportunity to connect with students, people from all over the world. Uh, Students from every part of this world come and study in South Korea. So you don't get an exposure to the Korean culture only, but also to their cultures as well. So in a way, you broaden your cultural knowledge as well. So I think that's a huge part of studying abroad and studying in South Korea. With that, I would like to, one second. Okay, take you to the basic requirements. Now here, the 3 points that I've mentioned are important, but I wouldn't say they are the most important. There are a few points that I did not mention, but I think as a candidate, as an aspirant, I should be focusing on those points more. So just to quickly take you through these three, the GPA, your overall score, your bachelor degree scores should be over 65% for most of the universities, but so for the scholarship, the cutoff is mostly above 80%. So you have to maintain a certain grade point to be able to show your academic knowledge as well. Coming to topic level, a lot of people think that they should know Korean beforehand. I would say that's not an requirement. They do have programs here that would allow you to learn Korean language before you even start your studies. On the other hand, we have the departments that teach the MBA course completely in English. So I don't think for academic purposes you would need Korean, but yes, to survive here, to live a smooth life, definitely you should know some basic Korean. But that's not to get a topic score. By topic, I mean this is an language certificate that you get to understand what's your Korean language. So that's not a necessary requirement. At the end, to have any English certificates, I would say India is already a country that has English as its official language. So you do not need any other specific English certificates, but some of the Korean universities do require you to have a certain level in the English certificates as well. So you have to check those as per the university you aim to attend. Apart from these three, I wanted to mention few points. So no matter if you go through the scholarship route or self-funded route, which would be very expensive and will be explained by Bhakti, how much you can expect to spend on self-funded programs. But to understand both these paths would require you to submit a certain set of documents to be able to showcase yourself as a valid candidate. So one of them is the personal statement, another one is the study statement of purpose. So like your study plan. These two documents, I think, apart from these basic requirements, are the most important. Here they take those two, any professor would take those two documents really, really seriously to understand how you see yourself, how you're able to explain yourself to another person, and what your motivation is to even come to Korea or consider this opportunity. Because, like I said, education is taken very seriously here. So they would want a valid candidate to come here and be able to achieve their goals and pursue masters of PhD. So I think those two things are more important. And another point is to focus, sorry, to focus on your main idea of studying MBA. For instance, just thinking that I want to pursue MBA would not give you the entire benefit. You need to understand what major you want to take, what MBA with what major you want to do, pursue. Like, for example, Bhakti will be doing it in Masters in Finance. I'm doing it in International Business. So all this you have to prepare beforehand. I have seen some aspirants thinking that once I am in Korea, I would be able to figure it out. But I think investing so much time in a program, you're just not investing your money. If you get scholarship, you are not investing money, but like investing your time is a major concept here. So you have to really plan it out what you want to pursue and what would be your break. You need to break your 2 years of time here and see what you have to learn and gain all that knowledge to be able to succeed further after the MBA. You have to also imagine your life after the MBA. MBA is not the end goal here. It's just the stepping stone to get the knowledge and then achieve your goals after that. And with that, I have the scholarship slide here. So I have kept GKS on the top because when I was reading through the scholarship benefits, I saw that GKS provides you with the most benefits, like including everything for you, like everything is funded for you. The other scholarship, if you would see, some of them would mention a certain percentage of your a fee is taken off, or you don't need to pay, and all those. So different scholarships have different benefits, and you guys can go through each scholarship name and just Google it and read the benefits that you will get, what would be the requirement, when is the opening, and everything. The main idea to show you the slide was to understand that one scholarship is there that would provide you everything, but that's not your only option. Every single university that provides the MBA program has a certain scholarship for students. They understand that not every student would be able to fund their studies or master's studies, right? And it's really expensive as well. So universities here make sure that a student who is performing really well gets some kind of benefit. So each university has different kind of scholarship programs. You can look for the university you're aiming to get in, and then check their scholarship section. Another thing I wanted to mention is, if you go through the scholarship tabs, you need to understand that sometimes they would say there is no scholarship, but once you get here, the university would see 1 year or 6 months of your progress, like how a student is, and then they would offer you a scholarship. Like, we understand you're a very good student, you have good grades, and you don't need to pay this much tuition fee or whatever. So I think if you are really serious about coming to Korea and studying here, pursuing MBA, because business studies here is a much more expensive course, I would say, you don't have to worry financially. You would be able to find a way to make sure that your financial status is still okay and you're able to pursue the further studies. And at the end, I just wanted to share my personal experience. So while I was applying for the GKS program, like I mentioned, we had to write a personal statement and everything. And the process was to send in the application, give an interview, and then get selected. And I would say that this is the same process for any university, any route, whether it's scholarship or not, because even though you're self-funding, the professor would like to know what kind of candidate is joining our university. So they do usually have an interview round at that time as well. And in the GKS process, I sent in my personal statement. So my idea was to show them why I was interested, because I was switching from engineering background to a business background. And I need to have a very strong point why this switch is valid. So any one of you who doesn't have the business bachelor's in business studies and wants to pursue MBA, you need to have a solid connection to both of your degrees. So for me, working in HPE for 3 years allowed me to bridge that gap between my engineering and my will to study MBA further. And I was able to show them how those 3 years played a vital role in my life. And I was then more interested in the management positions, but it requires a certain level of understanding, and I need to get that knowledge while I pursue MBA, right? So no matter what your background is, if you want to jump onto a new route or new studies, that is possible, but we need to find a connection. That's it. And the last point I wanted to mention is, a lot of people think that after their bachelor's, they can directly jump on to studying MBA, which is obviously possible. But in my personal opinion, I think having a work experience adds to your portfolio altogether. They need to understand, a professor or the third person needs to understand that you have seen the world outside your university. Studying in university is completely different than working with clients, being able to connect with global people and understand a business environment or a company environment, right? So if you have a small work experience, like I have 3 years, you could have a year or two, and that would really boost up your portfolio to be able to pursue MBA in South Korea. I think that's one of the uh, big highlights if you are thinking to pursue MBA here. Yes, that was it. At the end, we will have a Q&A session. So looking forward to all the questions. Thank you. Shweta ma'am, over to you.
Thank you, Jyoti. That was really insightful. Some great points there. Some of the points which I'm also going to touch base upon on my section on expectations versus reality. Thank you. Great session. Bhakti, can you please take over from here and give us more insights on what are the scholarships available, how much will they cost, and so on and so forth.
Hello. Can you all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, I'll just share my screen. I don't. Yes. So I will start with the MBA and International Studies. So first, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for a warm welcome, Shweta ma'am. Today, I will be covering the universities that provide MBA and MS degree, and at the end, I will share my experience. So, talking about the MBA, and so there are two kinds of MBA. One is the global MBA, which covers everything, like you learn about business, finance, marketing, everything. And one is an MBA in specialization degree. So for me, I am doing a master course, whereas for Jyoti, she is doing an international business, but she is gonna get an MBA degree. Whereas I'm doing a international finance course, and for me, I will get a master's degree, not an MBA. So there are two kinds of different MBAs, and the second one is GSIS. GSIS is the Graduate School of International Studies. So this is one program which few of the universities in South Korea, they provide this major. The main majors are international studies, international trade, international finance, international relations, and business. So mostly these majors are offered in English, and only these courses are covered under GSIS. However, some universities provide this major, but it is not under GSIS. So in this case, the medium of the language might be Korean or English. However, if it is under GSIS, most of the programs are in 100% English courses. So the next slide is the universities that offered MBA courses. So these are the few universities. The first one is Sungkyukwon. So these all universities offered MBA program, and all of the MBA programs are in English. So one is Sungkyukwon, Yonsei University, Donggu University, Chungnam, Aju, Gwangju, KAIST, and Hanyang universities. So if you see the KAIST university, they don't provide MBA, global MBA. They provide MBA in specialized degree. So they have two MBA program. One is a techno MBA and one is finance MBA. So when you want to search for MBA programs, you have to go to the university's official site and see which MBA they are providing. Most of the MBA courses are in English, but still you have to confirm with the universities if they are in 50% Korean and 50% English. The next is universities that offers GSIS programs. GSIS, I said, are the courses or the majors that are in 100% English. So these are few universities. One is Eva University, Sogang, Pusan National, Chungang, and HUFS, and under that it is GSIAS. So when I was applying for GKS in 2021, that year Yonsei was offering GSIS courses. However, this year in 2022 application, they removed these courses. So this one I'm talking about GKS. So next year you have to check the university list to see if they are offering these courses or not. So I'll share my screen to show how to check the university list. So this is the official site of university study in Korea. And when you go under the scholarship section under the GKS notice, so this is the 2022 application guideline of GKS for graduate degrees. And here under this, there is a university information. So this file includes all the university that are offering courses. So once I go into this file, I can explain you how to check the so these are all the universities name: Aju, BUFS, Chonnam. So I will just freeze my screen. So if you see, this is Aju University. I'm so sorry. This is Aju University, and they are offering international business. So in international business, they are offering the language as 100% English. However, in business administration, the language is 50% Korean and 50% English. So this is how you can check the universities and the majors they are offering. And next, I will move on to the fee structure. So this is the estimate fee structure if you are applying via direct admission and not via scholarship. So this is the tuition fees for some of the universities in one is the Yonsei University, Sungkyukwan, Chungang, and Donggu. So roughly, if you apply via direct admission, it's gonna cost you roughly around $47,000 to $48,000 for everything without a scholarship. So if this is without a scholarship, this is just the tuition fees cost. Regarding the university scholarship, Shweta ma'am will explain her experience later in this session. However, the other expenses, that was just the tuition fees. However, there are much other expenses such as accommodation, living expenses, your miscellaneous, which might include the book cost, the project cost, cultural visit cost, everything includes in. So roughly around every month, it's going to cost around 1,290. So it's a lot. This is excluding the scholarship. However, every universities have their own percentage of giving the scholarship. The scholarship percentage is based on work experience, merit base, work experience base, and a lot of other factors. So yes, so you have to keep all of these things in mind. And the next slide is about the GKS benefit. As Jyoti mentioned, GKS scholarship is one of the scholarship that has the most amount of advantages because it covers everything under one scholarship. So if you get selected for a GKS, you can get a flight expense, the only one-time flight expense, which is coming to Korea and going back at the end of your major, which is after 3 years or 4 years, you get one flight ticket. The settlement allowance, once you come to Korea, you get around $200 of settlement allowance. And then monthly expense for graduate students, we get around $1,000. And for undergraduate, it's around $900 every month we get. The medical insurance is covered by the NIID. And on my right hand side, the four things are only when you are in your major year. So when you are doing your Korean language, you don't get the four benefits. You will only get when you enter your master or your PhD year. So once you clear topic 5 or 6, you get above 5. Every month, the NIID gives $100 extra for it. If you are a research student, then there is a research support benefit given also. Then at the time of thesis, they will give a thesis benefit as well. And at the end, once we complete our degree completion, we also get some amount of benefit at the end of the program. So this was it. And now I will share my experience of how I approached the university. So I always wanted to do international finance, something related to finance, because I have almost 3 years of work experience, and my bachelor's was also accounting and finance. So it was good for me to do something related to finance. And while figure out, so when I came to know about the GKS scholarship, the first thing I did was to list down all the universities that were offering the majors which I want. So one was Yonsei and Sogang, there was Hanyang. So for me, the motive was to get a degree which is in 100% English, because if I learn something in Korean, my knowledge is very restricted only to the Korean market and not overall to the global world. So one thing I was always clear that if I want a university, it has to be 100% English. So one of my option was definitely Sogang. And after finalizing my university, since I applied to university track, I only had one option to select one university, and that was Sogang. So when I finalized my university, I started researching about the professor. So what my professor is gonna work on the thesis, the research they are carrying out. So at that time, I wanted to do a research on the corporate social responsibility and the debt financing. So these two research work I was really interested in. I didn't contact any professor. I just directly applied. I made my SOP and personal statement strong, that they know that I'm interested in this kind of research. So I made everything clear in my statement of purpose and study plan, everything. And yeah, that's, and then there was an interview. So the professor took my interview, and at that time, one thing that he asked me is how many years of work experience that you have. If you are doing a master's or an MBA, especially MBA, I would say work experience is one of the greatest advantage. They will only select students who have a good amount of work experience. As Jyoti said, that they check that do you have any knowledge about the international world, something that you can work on. So I would say if you want to apply for MBA or masters in any program, international programs, then if you have a work experience, it will always be a plus point. So yeah, that's it. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Bhakti. Such good information consolidated in one place. If it was for anybody else, you have to sit and look at so many websites and try to, figure out where to do what. I think this is a good break-even sort of point where everybody gets information in one place. And thanks to ISRK for organizing such an event where, most of you can benefit from. So moving on to the next part of our I believe somebody is unmute. Can we mute them? Okay. So moving on to the next part of our, program, I wanted to cover a couple of points on to, expectations versus reality, what it is about MBA, why you want to do MBA. So before we get into the Yonsei MBA from where I did my, MBA from, I wanted to actually get you guys to think about a couple of things. Even before you start applying for an MBA, I wanted you guys to understand a couple of things, what goes behind the scenes, right? So firstly, I wanted you guys to question yourself or sit down and do an assessment of Why are you doing an MBA? Why do you think you want to do an MBA? Have you assessed your career goals? Do you have any career goals? Like Jyoti and Bhakti, both of them suggested, MBA is not when you just, one day decide, okay, I've done my undergrad now, I want to do an MBA. That won't help, not for you, not for your, career, not for the university. And getting into an MBA in that mindset is really not going to help anybody. So I would highly recommend for you guys to have a pen and paper and assess your career goals, assess what is your ambition, where you want to be, where do you see yourself in a couple of years, and then ask the question, does MBA seem a must? Do you think MBA will value add? Do you think MBA will actually take you to that direction where you want to be? Do you think MBA will actually make you that person who would want to, achieve that dreams or that goal that you have set for yourself? Then the second question is, why MBA in Korea? I know Jyoti touched base upon a couple of good points onto how Korea has become a, suddenly there's a K wave. I'm sure you guys have heard of this word. K wave is across the globe. They have mastered the art of marketing. They've mastered the art of, propagating their industry. So it be, entertainment, K-pop, the K-beauty industry. But there is so much more to it. There are so many layers onto doing an MBA in Korea. One is challenging for sure. Like Jyoti mentioned before, they give huge importance to education here. So the MBAs here are going to be very, very intense. The professors, no matter how international they are, no matter how international the course is going to be, the approach to the MBA is still going to be very Korean. And I'll tell you how. For example, for my MBA, we used to have classes from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. back to back, 3 hours classes, so 3 classes in a day, 3 hours each session. And post completing, we used to have assignments to submit the next day, which used to be nothing less than each assignment is at least 3 or 4 hours. And we have literally one night to complete, and we have 3 of those assignments. So this is just to give an example of how intense the courses are. So expectation, great, you're going to have fun. Korea is a great cultural place. There's a lot of stuff to do here, but it is really intense. So do you fit in that? Are you expecting that from your MBA? Have a check on that. Next is, what should you focus on in the application process? One is, I believe there are different application processes for each university, but if you're going into the more privatized universities like I did from Yonsei, SNU, etc., they will usually have essays to submit in the application form. We had about 8 essays, which have different questions ranging from, your individual contribution, your individual progress, your individual growth, challenges you're faced, what you could bring to the table and stuff like that. So I would say give deep thought to the essays. Focus on what value addition you can do to the course. They already have so many applicants from different parts of the world. As Indians, our diversity portfolio is gone, because as Indians, we are hundreds of people applying. So you cannot fall in the diversity, bucket. So you have to really stand out. How you stand out is, you have to think about what value addition you're going to do to the course, what you bring to the course, how different are you from others, those kind of things. The fit part of it, you really have to think through your essays. Reach out to people who have experience, reach out to people who have done this before. LinkedIn is a great platform to, look for people, ask for suggestions, send out your essays, improvise them, and then apply. Do not take essays lightly, because that is where, they elect or they pick the students, and from there the entire process starts. So this is something really groundwork that you have to do just before you apply your application. Okay, so talking about the global MBA at Yonsei, from where I did, a couple of things I wanted to touch base upon about the course, pros and cons. Pros, definitely, Yonsei is a huge university. The brand name itself is so big that, just from my experience, if I went in somewhere and I was with a couple of my global MBA friends and we say we are from Yonsei University, the kind of respect we get is another level. It gives us an entry into interviews and companies where others cannot get it, because Yonsei University itself is a big brand. Network, the network that you have in your professors, the network that you have from your alumni, the network that you develop while you're doing the MBA is really, really tangible. It is really something that you're going to cherish or utilize for the rest of your career. The cons part of it, I think this is very subjective, but it may not apply to you guys. But for me, my MBA was mostly in the COVID phase. So I honestly felt that we did not extract as much as we could have if there was no COVID. But you cannot blame the university for that. Still, even with COVID, they did a great job in terms of delivering the essential part of the MBA. Another con I would say is the CDC, which is the Career Development Services. Given the limitations of foreign language jobs in Korea, given the limitations of all English, sort of career plans in Korea, CDC in Yonsei University was very limited. So not everybody in my MBA got a job after they finished. Even people with a lot of experience were struggling, especially the ones who did not know Korean language. So I'm going to touch base upon it a little later on again, but this is one of the cons. Now, coming to the scholarship, I received a scholarship from the university, from the Yonsei University, and it was a good chunk of my, literally almost the entire sum of my tuition fee. And it was really helpful because for me, if it was not for scholarship, I don't think I would have even considered applying for MBA in Korea, because I felt it was heavily, expensive, given that we are in Korea, we're not even in the US, right? That was my mindset before I got into MBA. But later on, it definitely changed, and I'm going to talk to you about that later. Now, the application is applied, in different stages. There are essays, and there is also one additional essay that you have to write for the scholarship alone. They will ask you, why do you think you deserve this scholarship? Why do you want to apply the scholarship and stuff like that? So you have to really think about, don't just give reasons like I can't afford it. I mean, that is not a reason they would want to hear. Again, think about what value addition you are bringing to the MBA, how you can contribute, how your being in the course is going to be a value add to the entire class. That is something that universities are looking for, and they would want to give you scholarship to be in that class. Once shortlisted, there will be multiple interviews. I had a couple of interviews with the professors, with the alumni, especially for the scholarship. I had 2 or 3 extra interviews just to, ensure that I deserve the scholarship. Then who gets a scholarship? Like I said, I got a scholarship on merit because I had experience, and plus, I had a couple of interviews with the alumni and stuff. So basically, in my case, they were looking at what value addition am I going to do to the MBA, how I'm going to contribute, and how my network or my position from wherever I was is going to, make the class more diverse, make the class more entertaining, or perhaps more, inclusive in terms of learning and experiencing the whole MBA together. So these were a couple of things that I wanted to touch base upon. Moving forward, this is just a glimpse from the Yonsei GMBA site. Like Jyoti already covered, the tuition fees is actually $47,000, but there are like plus and minus to this. There are scholarships. There are 3 types of scholarship: merit scholarship, global fellowships, and YSB fellowships. Those are again decided by the university. You do not have to mention, I'm applying for merit scholarship, I'm applying for this and this. When you write your MBA, when you write your scholarship essay, you basically have to just write the essay and advise or suggest why you want the scholarship, and then the school will decide which bracket you fall into. Even after you get the scholarship, while you're doing the MBA, there are a couple of things that you have to check box every single semester so that your scholarship is granted for the next semester. So it's not like you get in and the entire 1.5 years they're going to give you scholarship. No, there are going to be reviews and assessments every semester. You have to maintain a GPA of at least 3.5 out of 4.3, and I would say it's not that difficult. You just have to be dedicated to the course. In addition to that, you have to provide 10 hours of additional work for the scholarship, which will be like a teaching assistant, research assistant. You will be assigned to a professor wherein you are given some tasks, and you have to record those 10 hours per week in addition to the MBA. So if you're applying scholarship, I want to give you a heads up. In addition to the intensive MBA course, this is something that you have to do. So bear in mind, you are signing up for something. It is not going to be you get scholarship and you're just free. You're signing up for a task, and you're signing up for an intensive task, just to give you a heads up on that. Okay, so now coming to this part, a little bit of reality check. So when you do an MBA, we have expectation that, oh, I'm going to walk out of my MBA, hundreds of companies are going to line up for me, and then I'm going to end up in a most beautiful dream job in Korea. No, the fact check is that's not the case. One thing is MBA in Korea is very Asian focused, Asian market focused. I know Bhakti mentioned that she did MBA in English because she wanted to be able to work outside of Korea as well. Definitely that is possible. But even if you're doing MBA in Korea in English, which was my global MBA as well, the education or the sort of studies that you're doing is very, very Asian focused. The case studies, for example, you're doing marketing. The case studies that you're studying are very, very Asia focused, which is good in a way, because given the market in Asia is growing so fast, and Korea, India, they're picking up pace in different industries. I would say this is a great advantage to have Asian focused MBA. Job market in Korea post MBA, does the university or the CDC help? Like I said before, it is challenging. It is very challenging if you do not know the language completely. And by knowing language, I do not mean just the spoken language, right? You have to have certain level of proficiency in Korean. I do not know Korean. I know zero Korean, but I did manage to land up a job because of my network from my past experience, my previous work experience I had, my previous colleagues. I reached out to a couple of people. So you have to really have some sort of network to fall back onto. If you do not have that, it is going to be very, very challenging for you to land up into a job after your MBA in Korea. How to maximize your MBA or international studies experience? According to me and my experience, here in Korea, and also the time that I was in Spain with my husband when he was pursuing his MBA, and I've seen my other friends doing it. MBA is not just what you're studying within the classrooms. It is the network you're building. It is the people you're meeting. It is the kind of outreach you're going to have in the industry, in the society, moving forward. So building on to what Jyoti said before, have a focused idea on what you want to do with your MBA, where you're going to end up, where you want to land up, and then start building your network. Even before you get into your MBA, use platforms like LinkedIn, read up papers, reach out to people, reach out to professors, do your homework, build your network, and that is how you can maximize your MBA. It is about the network, right? Another question that a lot of people ask, why are MBA courses so expensive? Especially, considering that we are in Korea, in Asia, not even in the US, how is it comparable? Why are the courses so expensive? MBA courses are expensive because you are sitting in a classroom full of people who have come from different parts of the world, who bring in value from different parts of the world, and they have their own outreach, which is so tremendous, you cannot imagine, right? And at the same time, the professors you're talking to, the professor you're learning from, these are real life examples of success. So you're not paying money just for a classroom. It is very different from the undergraduate experience. It is more onto the people, it is more onto the experience that you're going to have, which is why the MBA courses are so expensive. Lastly, MBA at Yonsei University, what can you expect? I would say it was a great experience for me. My cohort was, full of people from across the globe. There were people from different parts of the world. Some parts of the world I didn't even know. Like, for example, there was this guy from Honduras, which before my MBA I didn't know existed. And he was, his father is actually into coffee, production. And he had come to further develop his acumen into industry and expand his coffee farms and create the business around his whole coffee industry. And after he came here, he started collaborating with local coffee vendors, and it was really interesting to see his journey on how he's trying to expand his business. So these are the kind of people you meet, these are the kind of experiences you have, and you actually witness real life industry expansions, real life industry executions at the MBA. And Yonsei University, I feel, is a great place because our professors, really add up to the value. They are from Harvard, they are from different parts of, Stanford, some really great courses which are built for Yonsei University. They follow case study method, which is another great way of learning. I feel like instead of sitting in a classroom and doing textbook knowledge, case study was really helpful because we had interactive classes. It was more discussion oriented. Everybody came in with their ideas, and it was just like brainstorming every single session, which was a great time learning. So is it worth it? Definitely. But you have to be invested in it. I think we are going to open our floor for Q&As. If you guys have questions, please raise your hands or drop in your questions in our chat box, and then we can have the discussions. Thank you. I have a question from Anu. She says that she finished. Okay, Anu, do you want to ask the question? Okay, while Anu is getting ready, Smita has a question. Smita, can you please unmute yourself and ask us your question?
Hello, ma'am. My name is Smita. My question is GKS for commerce courses? GKS scholarship is commerce also?
Yes, GKS provides like courses with related to commerce. So my undergrad major was related to commerce. So you can apply in GKS if you have a commerce background. There are a lot of courses, as I explained, business, trade, relations, everything is covered under commerce. So you can definitely apply.
Bhakti, sorry, go ahead, Smita.
Ma'am, BS Commerce available? Course, BS Commerce. Bachelor Science Commerce is available?
Do you want to do bachelor's or master's?
Bachelor's.
You have to search the university list as I showed you in the Study in Korea website. You have to go to the university list and see which all universities are offering which courses. So the one which you are saying, you can just go to the list and check if any university is offering that course.
Bhakti, can you drop it link for the website you're mentioning in the chat?
Sure.
I don't think they all can see the chat. I'm not sure how we can, maybe we can just add it to our YouTube link later on, but there is studyinkorea.go.kr. This is the website, Smita. You can you can go into studyinkorea.go.kr and you will pretty much find all the information on which are the courses that you can apply through GKS.
Yes, I've dropped the link in the chat box.
Thank you. We have a question from Spurti. Spurti, would you like to unmute yourself? Spurti G, would you like to unmute yourself and ask us your question, please? Okay, I'm not sure if she's having technical difficulties, but the question is MBA from Korea valid in other countries like UK so that we can ensure more job opportunities? Yes, it is valid everywhere in the world. It is not about validity, but I would say it is, again, depending on what kind of course you're doing and what kind of job you're trying to apply within that country is what is going to matter. But if you ask me if my degree or if the certificate I have from Yonsei MBA is going to be valid or not, definitely it is valid. And yeah, again, doing the course 100% in English makes it a lot easier. So if you want to pursue your career outside of Korea, highly recommend that you do 100% English courses.
Just to add on to that, Shweta ma'am, to understand that whether your degree would be valid or not, this can come from a viewpoint that whether it will have a value after you're finished or not. So it basically depends on what kind of university also you are doing it from. For example, Shweta ma'am completed it from Yonsei. It's its own brand. Different university names are itself a brand. So when you tell them I completed it from so-and-so university, that holds a different value along with the course that you have done, the kind of major you have chosen. So that plays a role also, but validity, yes, it's valid all over the world.
Yeah. We have a question from Disha. Disha, do you want to unmute yourself and ask question, please?
I have a question from Ms. Jyoti as she is pursuing his MBA from EduU University. I have checked their criteria for this year. There is some terms and condition for IELTS. There should be 5.5 or there should be an official language English. But as I am having a 4-year experience, suppose if I want to apply for EduU, but I don't have any IELTS and topic score, is this possibility I am eligible for that program for MBA?
Yes. So when you're going for master's, your graduation studies should be completely in English. Whatever course you took should be in English. And once you get a document from your university stating that your medium of study was English, it basically states that your official language is English as well. So for Indian students, that's why it is easier without any other English certificates to get through these scholarships. So that is possible, definitely.
Thank you so much. I have 2 more questions. As I checked
Sorry, Disha, just to add on to that particular part, it again depends on different universities. I know you're asking for that one specific universities, but in case anybody else is interested, in my case, for Yonsei, even though my education was in English and my entire degree certificates were in English, they did have a requirement that if your country is not officially English-speaking country, unless it's US, UK, etc., you have to do TOEFL or IELTS sort of exams. So I had to give TOEFL and I had to have scores above, I think 80. I can't recall the exact bracket, but you do have to have those English certification courses. So look at different university requirements. For your question, Disha, Jyoti answered it, but if others are interested, it may or may not apply to your university. Sorry, Disha, go ahead. You had another question.
Actually, I agree with your point. I checked all the MBA university, but their criteria is very huge. And also I checked, and Dongguk and Chong ANU. This also I checked, but every have different criteria. And my second question is my percentage is 77.28. So am I eligible for applying for scholarship? Because every document I have prepared, but the issue is I'm just confused with 2-3 university because there is a very huge criteria for university. They asking for above 80. My university and college, they gave me a top 20 percentile, but I got that certificate through Gmail. I don't have original because right now I'm in Delhi and my university is in Bhopal. So university will accept that document because I am having a copy of that document, not original one. So
okay. So Bhakti, would you like to answer that? Okay.
Yes. So if your percentage, like for GKS, the criteria is 80%, or you should be in the top 20%. So it is absolutely okay. If you don't have 80%, you can still give it a chance. I have few friends, I know some of them who don't have 80%, but they did get selected. So it's absolutely okay. You can still give it a try. About the stamp, if you don't have the stamp, so the university you are applying, just send them an email stating that this is the pandemic is going and we are unable to go to the university to get it stamped. So is it okay if we get the letter via Gmail? So you can definitely do that, because in my case, I also did the same. I converted my scale into 7-point scale, but at that time there was lockdown and I couldn't get the stamp of the university. So I contacted my university and explained the whole situation, and they did agree to send the paper without a stamp. So you can definitely do that, but you have to just contact the university once.
Yes. And I just last question. I'm sorry, I'm asking so many questions. Last question is, which one will be a better for applying for MBA program, is university track or embassy track? Because the reason I'm asking, as I heard in Korean university, they are giving preference to the student who is having into a research Korean language literature. MBA is and then engineering. MBA is like on 5th number or 4th number, and there is only 22 seats on embassy track. So what will be the better option for MBA only? I'm just concerning about MBA because there is many filter in embassy track.
To answer that question, definitely you have to check through what are the embassy requirements as well. If you will see the MHRD notification, they do tell what is their process of selecting a candidate. So if you read through, you would be able to understand whether embassy track is better for you or university track. And on the other hand, this conception that GKS selects so-and-so students first and MBA students at the end, that is not true. I think the number of students getting selected is less because they're trying to pick only the best of best with some kind of work experience, and their profile has an overall, everything like academics, extracurricular, everything. So if your profile is that strong, I think definitely you should apply through whichever track you wish, and you can get it. GKS does not prefer only certain areas of studies.
Thank you, Jyoti. Thank you, Disha. I'm afraid I won't be able to take more questions from you. I have another question in the chat box. I'm sorry I won't be able to ask you to raise the question, but to answer your question, they have asked that they have some experience from past 1.5 years they're working. They have an IT background. Will they be a right fit for application into GKS and university scholarship? So again, like we mentioned, it's very subjective. It's subjected to what you bring to the table, what your profile is, and apply, reach out to people like Bhakti and Jyoti mentioned, be in contact with the admissions department of the universities, send them emails. They want to see you're curious. They want to see that you really want to be a part of this MBA. So reach out to them. Don't hesitate to ask questions. Give them a call. Drop an email. They will definitely respond to your queries and follow up. Be persistent, and if you are a fit or not, that will only be determined by the university. We cannot tell you that. So please, I would say that go for it, apply, and then you will know the answer. So another question was, are Central University student more favors? What do you mean Central University, Yash?
Okay, I will answer this question.
Okay.
So this is for the GKS. So since for India we have to first go through the MHRD process. MHRD has, in the MHRD website, they have mentioned that they will give preference to Central University, state universities, and IIT, IIM students. But that's not true. They do select students from state universities and open university. So it's just the preference they get, but it's not true that all the 22 seats are given to these students. So if you are from another apart from the central universities, you can still apply to the embassy track.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Bhakti, for answering that. Due to the shortage of time, we have already exceeded 8 minutes. So I would like to request Sri Gauri ji to please give the vote of thanks.
Hello everyone, a very good afternoon and a very good evening to one and all who are present here, who have joined us from different parts of the world respectively. And first of all, I would like to thank our today's speaker, Ms. Bhakti Panchal, Ms. Jyoti and Ms. Shihag, Ms. Shweta Chaudhary for sharing your experience in getting the position, about your studies, your courses, your universities, how to apply, where to apply, whom to contact, and many more things. So we are very much thankful for your inputs and helping our viewers to know more about MBA and MS International Studies by GKS Scholarship and KGSP Scholarship respectively. And thank you guys for joining us on today's ISRK live session. My sincere and special thanks to Embassy of Korea in India and Asian Community News as a media partner, and Honorary Consulate General of Republic of Korea in Hyderabad for all your tremendous support and encouragement in our live interaction. We are growing day by day. I am very much thankful to all community leaders in Korea. I must thank the organizing team, ISRK volunteers, for their continuous support, and my heartfelt and special thanks to the one who is working day and night is the President of ISRK team, Dr. Lailish Kumar ji, and the Vice President Iqbal Khaji sir for arranging fruitful and constructive and open live interaction session regarding research opportunities in Korea. And I'm very much thankful to all our participants for joining today's session, for making it very active and very interactive session, as well as a very successful session. Looking forward to all of you in our upcoming events. Our next session will be on March 27th, 2022. We have Korean language course live interaction. To live in Korea, everyone should know at least survival Korean language. So our next live interaction will help you guys. I wish to see you all in many more numbers. Hope to see you all, and your valuable suggestions are very important for our ISRK platform to create a better and very good interactive sessions. It will be very much helpful. And if you have missed any kind of information in today's session, you need to worry about that, because we are going to upload our this today's live interaction session in our ISRK YouTube channel. For more updates regarding any kind of scholarship, job opportunities, or anything or any kind of doubts you have, please follow us on ISRK Facebook page, YouTube channel. You can follow us on Telegram also, Instagram also, LinkedIn also, Twitter also. Thank you, everyone. Thank you once again for joining us on today's session. Thank you.
Thank you, Sri Gauriji. Thank you, Jyoti. Thank you, Bhakti. Thank you, Lailishji, for providing us this platform and for a very successful interactive session. I hope this helped everyone, and I wish you guys all the best, and I hope to see you all someday in Korea. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.